Roger Gracie, it's been years since your last match against Buchecha, your first one in a draw. How do you see yourself now, years later, as a competitor, as an athlete going for this rematch?
I think very excited. It's been too long, 5 years since we fought, and I've been away from Jiu-Jitsu for such a long time. I'm very excited to be fighting against Buchecha. He's the best of the time now. And I've been fighting Rio, my hometown, against people that I know my whole life. So I think it's a great opportunity. I'm very excited, very happy to be here.
It's a different rule set, but you're both obviously going for the finish here. But with points involved, how does that change your approach, your strategy for this win?
I think it makes it harder in a way that we're fighting for points now, because if you fight for no points, you don't have to resist some positions. So I think with points, you just need a little bit more effort. You cannot afford to get scored. Even if you do, you cannot let that grow too much, because you can lose. If you fight for no points, doesn't matter what the person does against you. It's nothing. It doesn't count anything. It's only submission. But on this one, advantage can decide the fight. So the approach is completely different.
The first fight ended without a winner, but it felt like he came out on top because he got you in an armbar in the end. Did you feel that as well, that you coming in this fight you have something to prove because he almost submitted you in the end?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it happened that I got caught in a bad position during the fight, but I got out the same way that he did great, get him in the arm. I think I did great escaping from such a horrible position. It's not every day that you get caught such a straight on and then you're able to escape. I think, you show his ability to put me in that situation, but you show my ability to escape. And, I mean, it happens. I fought before, how many times I almost got caught in a fight, and I don't have that feeling that, I have something to prove. That fight was that fight. I got tired really early in that fight, so I thought, halfway through the fight, in my mind, I was like, oh my God, it's to 10 minutes. My legs are already shaking. I say, oh man, this is going to be a hard end. So I was already expecting the end to be rough, but this will be a different fight for sure.
Being tired and being caught in a position like that, what goes through your mind when he got your arm? Did you ever consider tapping? Were you afraid that it might be either your first time losing by submission?
Actually, it did not cross my mind, that I would lose, even though that my arm was straight. I think that was why I escaped, because even though that was in the worst position possible in the fight, I kept I kept a cool. My head was still working. I did not panic. I did everything that I had to do. I didn't rush to escape. I didn't, try desperate to get out. I was like conscious, step by step, what I have to do now. So I did everything that I thought I had to do in a technical way, not in a desperate way to escape. So
is that the secret for being one of the top guys, if not the only one top guy that never lost by submissions? That keeping your mind calm and trying to always think about how to get away from position like that?
I think yes, not just the fact that it was in submission, but if you want to be a champion, you need to have a strong mind. As a fighter, if you don't have a strong mind, you'll never succeed. So it can be from a submission, it can be from you're losing the fight to overcome. Those fights I was losing till 30 seconds of the fight, and then I was able to overcome. So if you have a strong mind, you can go very far. If you don't, you go nowhere.
You haven't competed in Jiu-Jitsu in a while, and also in MMA is more than a year since your last fight in MMA. How do you expect to be physically for this fight? Are you, even though you haven't competed, are you in the top of your game in the physical area?
Yeah, even though that I haven't competed for so long, but I'm always training. I'm always active. I'm never stopped training with the gi. I don't train I don't have a camp for a fight. I always train when I know that I have a fight coming. I just train harder, So I think that you always playing in my advantage, that I don't have to catch up the time that I lost without training. I'm always active, so I'm always 60, 70%, and when the fight comes, I'll just go to 100%. So I don't think that's going to be played against me.
And that was the talk that this would be your last match in your career in Jiu-Jitsu. But next month there's another tournament in Las Vegas with Buchecha as well, so you could meet him again next month. How did this happen? You having this fighting here in Rio, and that when Las Vegas, Kira offered you forgot that she offered this fight. How did this all happen?
Yeah, I was looking to have a last jiu-jitsu fight, for a while, and I spoke to Kira before. She told me she was gonna try to make this fight happen, and I actually forgot, and then I agreed to fight the GP. And then she came back to me and said, the fight is on. So, of course, I had agreed before, so I said, okay, let's do it. Then I commit myself to fight both. So my idea was just one, but, I made a commitment already, so now I'm fighting both.
So depending on the bracket, we might see a trilogy in a month.
I think that's a very high possibility, yeah.
And so speaking about MMA now, you last fought in over a year, won a championship belt in ONE FC. What are your plans now? You haven't fought in a while. They haven't announced anything. What's your idea for your next fight?
Yeah, I was actually going to fight MMA in the end of last year, but I got injured, so I had to pull out before they announced. And then on the beginning of this year, that wasn't 100%, but then I knew, if I want to fight in Jiu-Jitsu, I have to really commit to that for a while, So I started training less MMA because it's been so long since I fought Jiu-Jitsu. So I need a little bit more time for me to catch up. So I gave myself that time, and I knew, I spoke to the guys from ONE Championship, they knew. So let's push the MMA fight towards the end of the year. Even though that I still train MMA, I still train boxing and other things, but my commitment was to Jiu-Jitsu. But yeah, I think towards the end of the year you can expect for sure that I'll be fighting MMA.
Last time we spoke, you told me you wanted to go after a second belt. Is that your goal still?
That's my goal, to fight for the middleweight belt at ONE Championship, yeah.
What are your idea for weight cuts? You had issue in the past, you had rough weight cuts in the UFC and Strikeforce and all that. How's your body now, and would you deal with the weight cut again?
Yeah, I think I adapt really well for the, when I fought middleweight, 84 kilos, that was terrible. But for ONE, the middleweight is actually 93 kilos. They changed the weight system, and the weigh-in is actually the same way as the fight. So you cannot be dehydrated. But I think I adapt well because I kept my weight much lower. I walk around now with 95, 96 kilos. I actually put 2 extra kilos just to fight Buchecha because he's 115, So I just, not that I force myself to be heavy, because otherwise I'll be slow. If you carry a lot of weight, you're going to get more tired. So I don't really care what weight I'll be. But I afford myself to eat a little bit more, so I can have a little bit more energy. But I think with the weight cut for ONE, I feel very good with that.
In your last year as a Jiu-Jitsu athlete, what are your plans for MMA? Do you still see yourself doing this for 3-5 years, or you still have a year that, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 more years and that's it?
Yeah, I don't know how long I'll be fighting MMA, but I still have a few more years left on me. I'll be 36 in 2 months, so I'm not that young anymore, and I don't want to be fighting until I'm 40 years old. So I think I always told myself, 37, maybe 38, then let's see what my body will react and how life it is, because the older you get, more commitments you have, which I think that's for me now is playing a very tough part of my athlete life. It's not just, my body fit enough to train, because I am, I feel very healthy, strong still, but it's the other commitment that you start having, family, business, for you to be a full-time athlete, to compete against the young guys that, they're coming in really hungry to fight. That's all they do. And if it's not all I do, I won't be able to match the physically with them, So that's the hardest part for me now, but I'm giving myself, a few more years to focus in that, and then we'll see.
And just for the record, how do you see yourself winning Sunday?
Yeah, I'm very positive. I see myself winning, but it's not something that I care about. I cannot concern if I'm going to win or lose before a fight. I think I did everything I had to do. I prepared myself the best way I could, and I'm just going to get there with a clear mind and do my best. As long as I do my best, I'll leave that mat happy. But that's the approach that I always had in any of my fight. I never got into the fight saying, I have to win, I can't lose. Because if you do that, there's pressure. You play with your mind, I don't care. I did everything I could. I'm going to get there and give my best, and let's see what happens. Let's have fun.